UK, Savannah Marshall got a majority decision over French on Crews-Dezurn. That was I think it was one judge scored it even, and then Savannah Marshall got the nod on the other two scorecards. I know, Josh, you said you saw this fight. Do you want to give us your view in it?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and say that Alex and I were on two different ends of the spectrum as it related to the scoring of this fight. Now, it was an ugly fight at times, very ugly. A lot of holding, a lot of bending down, pushing on the head, a mix of all of that, a lot of grabbing, tackling. I think both of them hit the deck at least once, and for Cruz, she might have went down about 3 times. Now, I gave the first 3 rounds to Franchon, just giving that I felt that Savannah Marshall, she was there, she was stalking, but she only landed a few shots in each of those rounds by comparison, and it did look a bit tricky, I would say, or it was tricky from a scoring perspective, thinking about a lot of Franchon's shots were being smothered as well when she was pretty much rushing in. So you had a lot of that, a lot of butting headbutts and things of that nature, just because of the nature of the fight, just being on the inside and it being fairly and a fairly aggressive approach towards it. But I know that some people had it wide for Savannah Marshall. I know me watching it, I didn't agree. I thought that Savannah Marshall she had a pretty decent showing in the back end of the fight. Excuse me. But that being said, I think that in some of those rounds where I actually gave it to Franchon, it was because Savannah Marshall, she wasn't throwing as much, she wasn't as active, and Franchon, she was a bit more active in some of those rounds, but that didn't necessarily mean that everything was landing crisp and clean, actually. So I ended up scoring it four. I had Franchon Cruz up by 2 points, 96-94. Now I gave her the 12th round, though that was very close, so I could see that going the other way. And there might have been another two or 3 rounds that could have essentially been toss-up rounds. But I felt that Franchon, she was being slighted, and I know I've seen some of the comments and stuff on Twitter and all that. They just viewed her as kind of just rushing in, not really doing anything, or not really throwing punches or headbutting, elbowing, etc. But that being said, I was in disagreement with such. I thought it was a fairly close fight, but that's just me, you know.
Okay. Alex, what's your counter argument to that one? Because I know you had a difference of opinion on this one.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Boz, always here. Always appreciate you, being here with us. Shout out C-Dub, my boy Canna. We got Andre, who said that he came in through Josh's channel. So appreciate everyone, taking the time to be here. And it's time to be educated. That fight was not close at all. In the beginning, I got to give Franchon a lot of credit. She kept her distance. She was picking her shots. And, she wasn't getting hit that clean. Savannah warmed up by that 5th round. She has that real ugly, herky-jerky style that we kind of see from Tyson Fury. I mean, she is trained by his father, uncle, something like that. But, man, I think she was landing the obvious cleaner punches. It was, like I said, it was just so clear, so obvious. She was landing 1-2. She was landing hard jabs. She was mixing it in, right? Franchon wanted to bang. Savannah said, let's bang. And Franchon got banged and had to hold every time she got hit with that hook, every time hit with that overhand right. It was an ugly fight, which is how Franchon always fights, right? She's always sloppy. She's always in there to, she's going to come beat you up. She's definitely very strong because I felt Savannah could not find her way out of that clinch. But, yeah, I think it was quite clear that it was Savannah's fight. She was the better fighter. She was landing the better punches. And, I think it's a travesty that fight was scored as a majority draw because I think I could have watched it with one eye and still gave Savannah 7 rounds. But to each his own. No,
that's fair enough. I was catching it in glimpses. I had a pretty shitty stream going on, so from what I did see of it, I thought that Crews started off quite well. I thought she tagged her early on and was trying to get her into that kind of scrap, and then Savannah Marshall just kind of figured her out a little bit. And I kind of sided in with Alex a little bit here. I think her work was a bit cleaner, and I did see also the comments on Twitter like you did, Josh, where it's not a nice style Crews has got, and she was coming in a lot and kind of almost trying to clinch on and she'd run forward, throw some shots, but then she'd try and grab hold of her at the same time, and it just kind of messed things up a little bit. It wasn't very nice to watch. But yeah, I've got no arguments with the decision. It could have been close. It could have been slightly wider to Marshall. But I guess, as we always say, at least the right person won. So
yeah, you got to take it from the home fighter, right?
Exactly. And I guess she didn't quite do that enough. Although if it wasn't for enough encouragement from the sidelines, all I could hear for that whole fight was Clarissa Shields, I think it was, ringside, just absolutely shouting.
I thought she was at the commentary booth. Getting everything she said.
I'd like to have her just sat, beside me during the working day, just to encourage me to get shit done. Anyway, that was over in the UK last night.